All right, welcome back. I recently came across a tweet from Lyam Thomas Christopher, the author of the most exceptional book and initiation course, Kabbalah, Magick, and the Great Work of Self-Transformation, which I highly recommend, having gone through the curriculum myself. And in his tweet, he writes, quote, "If you're bored, you have failed in the ongoing test of your initiation. What's to become of you now but to be weeded out of our sacred playground?" He's not messing around. That is a pretty bold and harsh statement to make. But does he have a point? Let's get into it. Now, on the surface, that seems like a very harsh and severe statement, that the simple and common state of boredom is enough to invalidate all the years of hard work that you have put into your self-initiation. But he does have a point, but it's not one that most people are going to get unless they have gone through the process and transformation of self-initiation. And so I thought it would be a good thing to talk about and explain a bit further. Now, in the hit HBO series Game of Thrones, there's a character named Stannis Baratheon, and he tells his daughter that his father told him that boredom indicates a lack of inner resources. And I'm going to say that again. Boredom indicates a lack of inner resources. That line has always stuck with me because it's absolutely true. Boredom does indicate a lack of inner resources. And when you're going through the process of being initiated, going through the transformation process, part of what you're doing is cultivating inner resources. So when Lyam Thomas Christopher says, if you're bored, you have failed in the ongoing test of your initiation, well, he's right. Because you are meant to be cultivating inner resources, and boredom indicates a lack of those inner resources. I mean, I can't even remember the last time that I was like, oh man, I'm just totally bored out of my mind. I mean, really, I don't have time to be bored. That is a luxury that I just can't afford anymore. There is always something that needs to be done. There's always something that I could be doing. And this is something you'll discover as you cultivate inner resources by going through the self-transformative work of initiation. It may be quite hard to believe now, but there used to be a time when I wasn't always so busy. There used to be a time when even I, too, would fall into boredom. But after having gone through the curriculum in Lyam Thomas Christopher's book, not anymore. In fact, it's had the opposite effect. There's so much to do now that it's difficult for me to keep up with it all. The closest I've come to being bored since would have to be back when I caught pneumonia, when I physically couldn't do anything. But even then, I found things to do. I may not have had my body, but I still had my mind. And so it was a good time to plan things out, a good time to write things down and do paperwork. So there's always something you could be doing. There's no reason to ever be bored. Yet most people lack the inner resources to even think that way. But one look at their lives would tell you that they have plenty of work they need to catch up on. Now, if you know that there's always something that needs to be done, that there's always something that you could be doing, and you've internalized that, and it's become part of who you are, part of your being, then you will start to stand out. But not for the purposes of standing out. It's just a side effect of all the hard work that you've been doing. I might have mentioned earlier that I've been working a lot outside, and I go for regular walks. To walk around the circumference of my street and back to my house is exactly 1 mile. So it's a great measure of distance for the laps that I'll do. But I'll be walking around and noticing that every single yard on my street is brown from the drought and the heat that we've been having, except for mine. Mine's nice and green because I irrigate, I fertilize. I even have a striping system attached to my mower when I cut, so that I put those stripes in my lawn like you'll see on golf courses. My neighbors probably hate it that I make them look bad, even though that's not my intention. I just want my yard to look good. That's all I'm responsible for. But if I want it to look good, I have to put in the work. Just one walk around my street, nobody else is putting in the work. But me, I have plenty to do. I make videos for you guys. I have my own magical practice. I run my own business. I cook, I clean, I do my own laundry. I wash my vehicle at least once a week minimum. I'm like the whole package. But that's not to brag, that's to demonstrate that I don't rely on anyone else. My reality, my responsibility. Now, we've all heard the saying, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. But many times you'll find that if you want something done at all, you're going to have to do it yourself. We've talked about the scarcity mindset and how people in scarcity are always looking for ways to get something from other people, wanting to take from them. But when you're in abundance, you look at others and think, well, what can they ever do for me that I can't do 10 times better for myself? You don't need anything from others. You don't want anything from others. You are self-reliant. And if you're going to be self-reliant and in abundance, how can you ever be bored? How can I, with all that I have going on, ever find the time to be bored and maintain everything that I have going on? As I said before, it would be a luxury that I simply cannot afford anymore. So Lyam Thomas Christopher is correct. If you find yourself falling into boredom after having gone through the initiation process, then you may as well turn in your magician's card, because it's an indication of a lack of inner resources. This is Frater Xavier, and I'll see you next time. Take care.